Hi, everybody. It's Yvonne DeVita and Dr. Larry McDaniel from ScratchinsandSnippins.com. This is another podcast. We're going to talk about hiking with your dog today. Good morning, Dr. Larry.
Good morning, Yvonne. It's another beautiful sunny day in the mountains of southwest New Mexico. Good day to take your dog for a hike, I might add.
Yeah, and I think people in your area of the country and people where my daughter lives in Colorado, who, by the way, she tells me all the time, Mom, it doesn't snow as much here as the news tells you. That's in the mountains. But she takes her dog with her in the mountains. So I was wondering, when we take our dogs in an area like a mountain area or a park, let's say, we have beautiful parks here. So in the summer, if I were to take my new puppy, if I ever get one, with me on a hike, what should I take with me? What should I be on the lookout for? Our safety and making sure we have a really good experience.
Okay. Well, I think there are a few general things you need to consider. First of all, before we even get into health issues, you've got to figure out where you're going to hike. And in doing a little research for this project, I came across an interesting website that identifies dog-friendly trails across the countries. But anyway, you have to know the rules. You know, we've talked before about national parks like Yellowstone and Yosemite Glacier, places like that. You can bring your dog into the park, but they're not allowed on the trails, even if they are on a leash.
Oh.
And national monuments are the same way. We have a little national monument up north of us, the Gila Cliff Dwellings National Monument, actually part of the National Park Service, but they don't allow dogs on the trail. Most national forests do allow dogs, but they do have some rules. I think some of the best places to hike with your dogs are in wilderness areas, which are within national forests. I don't know if you have any in upstate New York, but you do have, certainly you have those great state parks in New York.
Yeah, we do.
And so I think that you just need to check with the governing body of the place where you want to hike first, and make sure that dogs are welcome. And then, kind of related to that, you have to, for a pleasant situation, you have to make sure that you can control your dog. And I think in most cases, this means a leash, unless your dog is extremely well trained to voice commands.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people say their dogs are that way, but in the heat of battle, like if there's a white-tailed deer in the Adirondack State Park there in New York and your dog sees it, sometimes chasing that deer overcomes their ability to respond to your calls. So unless they will respond to you in a situation like that, or where for instance, some people on horseback are coming your way, you've got to be able to physically or verbally control your dog. And
or another hiker with a dog.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I've witnessed some dog-on-dog encounters in the backcountry. So, yeah, you need to keep the dog under control. The other thing is conditioning. And when I start hiking, it takes me a little while to get back into hiking shape. So I start off kind of slowly. I do the little trips around the neighborhood and then up on the Boston Hill. And the same for a dog. They need to become acclimated and they need to become conditioned. Their feet need to become conditioned. Hikers, you may be in great shape. I'm in pretty good shape from cycling, but when I get out on the trail, my feet are not toughened, or hardened. And the same for dogs. They need to have conditioning. Their feet need to be kind of toughened and get accustomed to the conditions on the trail.
Yeah, good point. I'm assuming also you need to bring things like water and maybe even some food.
Yeah, I think those are a great idea, depending on how long you're going to be out. Water, definitely. And if your dog is hiking off the leash, they will do twice as much mileage as you're going to do. And they tend to heat up faster, especially on a hot day with their coat.
Right.
So you really need to make sure they're hydrated. In our part of the country, if there's water in the creek, it's usually clean enough for them to drink. In some parts of the country, that's not the case. And they can pick up giardia, just like people can, out of contaminated water. So in a lot of parts of the country, it's a good idea to make sure you're carrying enough water for you and your dog. Down here in the summertime, most people don't hike during the heat of the day in the summertime around here. But you can go through a couple of gallons on a long hike with your dog. So And some people will train their dogs to drink out of a squirt bottle, like Phil. You know, Alice. We talk about Alice a lot on the blog. Alice is doing well, by the way. She came over for a visit yesterday. But she will drink right out of Phil's, tube. He's got a backpack with a hydration system in it. And he can squirt water in the air, and Alice will lap it right out of the air. You can do the same with a bottle. I've seen people train their dogs to do that.
What
but
about
then you can also carry collapsible water dishes.
Yeah. I think that's what my daughter does. She has because I've seen her. When she goes to the dog park, she also brings it to the dog park.
So those work really well. And, the signs of a dog overheating are they'll be panting. They'll be going from shady spot to shady spot, trying to keep out of the sun as much as possible. So just make sure that every time you take a drink, you offer a drink to your dog. I think that's a good rule of thumb.
How about preparing for inclement weather? But it seems to me that I've heard stories anyway of taking your dog hiking in any of the national parks or in Colorado there in the mountains, and storms can come up so quickly that you certainly can't get back to home base fast enough. So do you need to bring something for the dog, or are dogs weatherproof?
Well, it depends. In the summer around here, we have thunderstorms almost every afternoon. So if we're hiking in the summer, we usually have with us a light rain shell. Now, we never use that with Alice. Alice is part Labrador Retriever, so she would spend most of her time underwater if she could. So we'll hunker down in a thunderstorm just to be safe, just to kind of get away from the lightning, and we'll try to find a place that's low and no big trees nearby that are going to act as lightning rods. And we'll just kind of hunker down and let the storm pass. And Alice usually gets down in there with us, and she doesn't get underneath us, but she gets wet. And I think that dogs the thunderstorms around here, they're gone in a half an hour, and Alice is dry 20 minutes after that. So I don't worry too much about that. I would worry more about something like flash floods around here. If it's unsafe for you to be hiking, it's probably, not really safe for your dog to be hiking. So I wouldn't be taking my dog skiing in avalanche country. There's just certain things I probably wouldn't do.
Right. And I wonder, some people are a little reckless, and so they think putting themselves in danger is a lot of fun. But if you're hiking, let's say in the middle of winter because you like being outdoors, and a huge snowstorm could come up, you're in trouble. If you've got the dog with you, that's even more trouble, because now you got two warm bodies to think about. But those are things people should consider.
Oh, definitely. You should never go out for a hike without knowing what the weather forecast is.
Right.
That is simple common sense for people. But, people continue to get stuck out in the backcountry. We had a person lost up in our wilderness, pretty experienced person, lost last summer for 3 or 4 days. So it can happen.
Wow. Well.
The other thing is, you talked about what to take. You can take a little bit of their food along with you. You can take dog treats, just something to give them a little boost of energy, because like you, they could use a little snack. If you're feeding a good quality pet food that's got a lot of energy density, nutrient density in it, then a little bit of that, give them a few kibbles of that. It's just like you gnawing on a power bar or something like that. So that's not a bad idea. And dogs can pack their own stuff. Back when we were taking Darcy into the backcountry, she went on many backpacking trips with us, and we bought her a little backpack for a small dog. It came in different sizes. Mm-hmm. You need to make sure that the packs fit the dog. So most companies that sell doggy backpacks will sell sizes for small, medium, and large, and extra large dogs. But Darcy used to carry some stuff along with us. She'd carry her own food. And a dog should be able to carry, if they're conditioned and you've gotten them used to it, they should be able to carry about a third of their body weight if you're into backpacking. And that can be really helpful, because dog food takes up a lot of space.
Wow. Interesting. Well, I think that's been real helpful for me. I hope it's going to be helpful for our listeners. So for today, I think we'll sign off, and we'll see everybody the next time we have a Scratchins and Sniffins podcast. Have a great day.
Happy hiking.